Welcome back to another episode of Real Estate Life. And I'm super excited to be joined today by our guest, somebody I've known for a few years. We go back to a mastermind group we were part of. He has to sit in the room and hear stories from this gentleman and hear about the growth of his team. And now to look at his whole organization and how big. It's just been amazing to watch. I'm excited to call him a colleague and a friend and also a fellow business owner. So I'm excited to welcome Mr. Carlos German.
Thank you for having me, Rob. Excited to be here. Always great hanging out with you and, spending time sharing, masterminding. I love it.
That's been great. Thank you so much for being here, Carlos. And I should note, it's interesting. I was thinking about this today. I'm actually across the street from the high school that you graduated in. Many people may not know that you actually lived in New England for a while up here in Maine. So, and I always thought it was a strange coincidence. I actually live in the town that you used to live in. So,
absolutely, a small world. I mean, how does that happen, right? Like we end in a mastermind with elite individuals from across the country. I'm living in Florida now, and obviously you in Maine, and we end up right there in the same room. And your office is right across from the high school I graduated at.
It's a crazy small world. It's always never ceases to amaze me. So, now you're a team leader of the Carlos German team, real estate advisors, and you're down in are you in Kissimmee or Celebration? Where are you?
Yeah, Celebration, which is kind of Kissimmee. I mean, it's where Disney World is. That's usually more of an anchor for people. So we specialize in selling homes near Disney World.
Nice. Well, I love it down there. I feel like I've been there over and over again. With 4 kids, we've made many trips down to that area. Mm-hmm. What a different area from many of us, in our smaller towns. That's a huge area. So how many agents do you have in your team?
I mean, right now we just grew the team to 15 agents. This year we've been kind of looking at scaling that team, and we added, I think 6 or 7 new agents in the last 6 months, which is rare for me. Like I have my team at 6 to 7 agents for like 10 years.
Yeah. What's the makeup? Do you have newer agents on the team plus some seasoned agents? Is it a mix?
Yeah. I mean, my core team has been with me for many years. I think the youngest person, if you will, in the team from that core has been with me for 5 years.
Oh, wow.
I have agents that have been with me 10, 11 years in that core group. Now, the new breed obviously is a mix of some experienced agents and some new agents, experienced agents that were part of my office, my brokerage, or another brokerage, or new agents that just came into our business and became part of our family.
Nice. Excellent. And what's, here we are in many parts of the country, a very interesting market, right? Just the market is very tight, low inventory, a lot of buyers right now, rising number of agents, I guess, too, because of, I think, COVID forced people into reevaluating their time in their lives and decided to get into the business. How are you guys keeping ahead of it all? What's driving your business down there?
I mean, staying ahead of a curve is very critical. So like when the pandemic hit, the first thing I focused on was, as a leader, you have to rally your troops. You need to bring everybody together so they understand that, when the market gets tough, when things get challenging, that's when we get inventory. That's when we grab market share. That's when we can grow even more. So getting them excited and focusing on a strategy. So the market, I feel like the market has shifted several times during the last year. Like first, we were afraid. We couldn't go out. We couldn't go do showings. That was a very, very different period. And at that time, we focused on leveraging the opportunities that we had in front of us to create demand. For example, going back to the database and saying, hey, a lot of people are afraid. This is a great opportunity to get a good deal. And those clients that took us up on that are loving us and thanking us now, because the second shift is the pent-up demand brought a madness into the market, and prices are going up and up and up. During the pandemic, we were selling homes to opportunists, people that knew you buy when there's fear, and there was a lot of fear. So that drives the business. Now, obviously, with the market being so hot, my team has always been buyer focused, right? So yeah, everybody wants the listings. I get it. But at the end of the day, I don't try to, pivot my core magic, what got me to where I am in the middle of a shifting market. So I doubled down on what I know. That's what I did. So I doubled down on my buyers when everybody was like, oh man, low inventory. How can I get more listings? So wait, so there's low inventory, there's more competition, and now you just realize that you need more listings. Really, like you just realize that, and you're gonna do it in the worst time. So I didn't do that. I doubled down on my buyer lead generation and created better filters to make sure that our agents were in front of the right buyers, right? Make sure that they weren't spinning their wheels. And there's still some of that. You go and you make 5 offers for somebody, you don't win the offer and whatnot. However, because we're providing consistent opportunities, they're able to get more flow and are able to generate more sales from buyers. I mean, I've always loved, helping a buyer and helping somebody find their dream home. And that's kind of what drives our core business. It has to do a lot with, our topic, right? Online lead generation. That's what got me to where I am. And that's fueling me to the top. Like, why would I change the core?
That's such a great point. And I know what you mean. It's funny. I just started working. I find myself with like 4 sets of buyers right now that I'm personally working with. I don't do a lot of buyers. I mean, I'm focused on listings, but there's a deep satisfaction that comes from working with a buyer to help them find their dream home and that next step. And it goes back to the root of what why a lot of us wanted to do this business, right? To help other people.
Like when I was still in production, because now, I'm the CEO of my business, like I'm not out there selling houses. My focus was the listings, right? Like I was personally myself just serving listings because absolutely listings are easier and all these things. However, listings are harder to scale across a team. So how can you feed 15 agents, 20, 30, 40, 50 agents in one market with listings consistently? I have one of my agents that's going to do 60 transactions this year. That's going to be very challenging to support with just listings. So like having one listing pillar is necessary. Like I have a listing specialist in my team. I have a few people that are greatly trained for listings, and they get what used to be my listing opportunities. So we can go all into, those pillars, those lead generation sources, and buyers turn into listings too. So that's also something to consider.
Great point. Yeah. So and I love the idea. So doubling down on your strengths, right? And one of your strengths, and I remember this from just conversations at masterminds, right, where you had a pretty detailed and in-depth online experience, really working buyer leads. So tell us a little bit about like your whole process and how would, if someone wanted to set something up like that, what would it look like?
Yeah. So the main thing is that a lot of people go out, they generate leads, and they just don't have a process that delivers a great experience and that gets the customer to buy in. It's not about getting leads online. Like a lead is a commodity, and a lot of agents, they are like, oh, leads. It's not really about the leads. Like the leads, you can get leads super easy nowadays for $6 a lead, $3 a lead. you got to think beyond that. Like step one is your positioning. How are you positioning yourself in the market? And we'll go a little bit into that. Then you also have to focus on value. Like, how can you add value beyond that which is being added by everybody else, including the Zillows, the Realtor.com, and whoever else is grabbing our market share and trying to sell it back to us, right? So let's go into those two areas, and then obviously, once you have that positioning, that value proposition, we are also going to go into the generation process of the leads, like some things that I use, and then the nurturing process of the leads so that you convert them. So we can go into those 4 pillars. But the positioning starts with you being an expert. And that's our thing, Rob. Like we focus on being expert advisors. That's why we're in our mastermind. That's why we coach with the people that we coach, because being an expert is different, right? Like even if the market were to collapse, the experts, that 1% of elite individuals, will be fine. If you look at the travel industry was completely decimated by online portals. But there's elite individuals, experts, making millions, making more money than they ever could and they ever did before the online portals. So why does that happen? It happens because the expert can differentiate themselves from other, competitors, even an online experience. So in your crafting of your strategy to generate more business, whether you're generating buyers or sellers, it really doesn't matter. You got to have a differentiated value proposition. Now, some people do it with a niche. We leverage a niche to carve out a little bit of a differentiation. So as I said at the beginning, we focused on providing buyers in the Disney area a service that was above and beyond what they were accustomed to. But our niche was the Disney area. We focus on selling homes near Disney World. That alone gave us a specialty. So that's step number 1. Now, from there on, you got to look at the field and how many people are doing the same thing. Let's say you pick an easier niche that is in almost every market, golf courses. I think most places have golf courses. Mm-hmm. If you focus on selling homes in golf courses or golf communities, how many agents are trying to do the same thing? There's probably some. Some of those agents might be rooted in those communities for a long, long time. And it was no different for me. So how do you create a separation? How do you create differentiation from those agents that are already there or that are coming and you? That's step 1. Like for us, we did it through technology. We provided a better technology experience to the consumer because we saw that there was a shift coming to more and more online experiences. And we decided to put a lot of money into our online experiences. So one of the things that we did was we created a distance to Disney on every listing on our website so that everybody that was looking at homes near Disney World, they knew how far their home was from Disney World. So just picture this for a moment. You're searching a home on Zillow and you're like, okay, I need to find homes near Disney World. And then you're like, okay, how far is this home? How big is this map? Is this 1 mile? Is this 2 miles? Like, I wonder how long it takes with the traffic. Like, that's not a perfect experience. Now, what if you go on my website and pow, you click a button and you know exactly how far it is from Disney every single time, consistently. You don't have to second guess it. You don't have to worry about it. Now, guess what? That person is not going to Zillow anymore. It's not going to happen because they don't have that, right? So that's one way to differentiate yourself. Now, differentiating yourself in education is important. The value that you bring as an expert in the field, higher level of education, higher level of certifications, higher level of expertise, all that is your positioning. The way you market it, the way you display it, the way you promote it is that positioning that will differentiate you from the rest and will align you properly. So now when you go and generate those leads, they are more likely to work with you. So that's kind of what I'm putting together in these 4 pillars here. So you understand that it's not just about generating the lead, it's about much more than that. So what do you feel about, that first area, Rob? Give me some commentary there.
Man, this is okay. So we have positioning and we have your value proposition, right? You got to, and so I mean, they're almost like they're hand in hand, right?
Yes, and I'm gonna touch on the value. Like I look at value differently. Like I look at value in a sense. Like positioning is almost a stance, like who you are, what you do, right?
Yeah.
The value proposition is ultimately what you do before you ask anything of them. So and that will include understanding that if you look at every customer as someone that you have a duty and a responsibility to provide them the best out of what they're looking to get, right? Like, the best experience, the best, service, the best process, the best, most easy, streamlined closing, that's where that value starts building up, and understanding that, for example, if you are on a website and you ask somebody to register before you can showcase that value, they're going to go away, and you're not going to collect that lead. So, in the value proposition, I think the most important thing is understanding coming from a heart of giving, right? It's not, oh, I'm an expert, or, my website is the best, or, I look at that as positioning. You want to be confident on who you are and what you do and what you bring to the table, but then you want to give. You want to give without asking anything in return, and that's where I see that value coming into play.
So how do you do that with Carl's German team? Like how are you? I get the positioning piece of it, and this is interesting, right? Because they are different, right? As you split that out, how do you give value? And you said the heart of giving. How do you show your heart?
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, it's a mindset. It's a mindset that if you have a conversation with somebody, like for example, when we have a conversation with someone, even socially, locally, and whatnot, we're identifying who they are, what they do, and what we can do to contribute to them beyond real estate. So can I connect them with a vendor so they can paint their house so they can stay there for 10 more years? Can I connect them with a new landscaper? They're looking for that. Can I, let's say they're just someone calling, can I provide them with a customer service experience so that they have a better, more enjoyable home search? So even when we call our leads, we call them as customer service, reps or experts, if you will. Like, it's not about selling you a house. It's like, I'm going to call you, hey, Rob, I noticed that you were on our website. I just wanted to check in with you, see how you're finding everything. Is everything working as you, anticipated? Can I help you with anything? That's it. Like, we're talking about what sort of experience are you having, first and foremost. Not, hey, are you looking to buy a house? Do you want to go see the house tomorrow? No. Now, if the person is calling us, you got to understand that they may just want that. Maybe they don't want chit chat. Maybe they don't want anything. Maybe they just want to go and look at the house. So if somebody, let's say I'm a buyer and I call you, Rob, and I tell you, hey, yeah, I was looking at a property here, 123 Main Street. It looks interesting. I was like, hey, Rob, that's awesome. I'm glad you called us. Yeah, that home is available. It's in the market. When would you like to go see it? Right? Like, that's straight to the service, straight to the value. I'm not asking them, are you working with a realtor? I'm not asking them, are you approved for a mortgage? I'm not asking them, any of those. That's the old school way. Giving comes from you helping someone get what they want without asking for anything in return. And here is the killer. It's proven, and statistics show that a client will work with the first agent they meet face to face with 80+% of the time. The first agent they meet face to face with, I think it's like 84% of the time or something like crazy. So why are you filtering getting face to face with a customer that you can build a relationship with and work with them and earn their business and help them out, right? Why are you filtering if they're pre-approved or not, or even if they qualify or if they got good credit, if you don't even know them? Like, why would you ask me if my credit is good over the phone? Like, you don't know me. Like, what are you trying to do here? So at the end of the day, I'm gonna go to another agent where they give me what they want. I just want information on the home, and I want to go and take a look at it, and that's what I want. And next thing you know, maybe I don't qualify, but you gave me what I wanted. You build a relationship. You're a great guy. You're professional. You got position, and you have a great tool set. Maybe I refer you some people because it was like, wow, that was amazing. This guy's awesome. Like, literally, he showed me some homes. Now, on that next phone call after you set that appointment, or on that first appointment, yeah, you can go deeper into those things. I always train my agents. I always told them, I'll show anybody 1 or 2 or 3 houses for free, basically, without asking for anything. Right? That's the value. And to me, that's always been a great investment of time. Now, if they want to see houses all over town, 10, 20 houses, I'm going to filter that big time. If I have so many clients that I don't know what to do with it, then maybe I should be building a team. There's an agent that will go out there and meet with that client face to face, earn their business. And, if that client doesn't buy, maybe get a referral. So that's kind of, where I see the value, having a heart of giving without asking for anything in return.
I love that. And that, that's against some of the other teachings out there, right? In fact, it's a little bit against what we're teaching on our team. Like we have been focusing on, get them into the office first. Let's meet before we go out, save time, make sure we're not wasting our time. You may have me thinking a little bit differently about that. So I appreciate that. I love the different way of looking at it.
And this has been studied, by the way, and there's been research by, large companies researching statistics, and you gain more from helping people than you do by filtering people. You do. But, that's what allows you more growth. Like maybe, like you shouldn't be the one out there doing, those first appointments. Maybe you have a showing agent do those appointments. I mean, there's all sorts of ways. However, if I can be in front of someone and build that relationship, I will every single time. And, a lot of the top teams around the country are shifting to this model, to the model of set the appointment, go meet them, and from there you go. Like basically, that's your consultation. That's your office consultation. That first appointment.
Yeah, that's interesting. And I've mentioned this from time to time, but I'm a Dale Carnegie trainer, and we teach human relation skills. And it just makes me think, well, if that's the case, if that's going to be your first meeting, you better be sending people out, and you yourself better make sure that your communication skills, your interpersonal skills, just the way you present yourself are at are top tier, right? Because you got one shot to make a first impression with them.
Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, if you're in this business of real estate, you need to have a certain baseline of skills. And, the number one skill is just being nice to people and care about them. Like, how many of us top agents get beat by the brand new agent just because they were friendlier, nicer, they took more time, and we were like rushing and and then we're like, oh, I lost my basics. I got to build rapport and I got to connect. Sometimes it happens. Like you're taking 10 listings in a week, and next thing you know, you get beat by a new agent on the 11th because you're not doing the basics. So I think as long as you're a great human being, you're giving, you care about the person. I was never a salesperson. Like I'm not. I'm a geek. I'm a computer guy. Like I was a programmer, a web developer. Like I don't see myself as a salesperson. But what I do is I connect with people. I care about them. I truly want the best for them. And yeah, sometimes that is advising them not to do something, absolutely, and looking elsewhere. But, if you've got that baseline, I think you're well on your way.
Yeah, I love that point. All right, so we have positioning, giving value. What was it? We're moving on to the third topic here, which is I think generating them, right? Generating those.
Right. Yeah. So once you have a good positioning, a good stance, you come from a value of contribution. That is the only time that you should spend money on lead generation or time or drive traffic. Like if because you can either build an audience for free or you can buy an audience. Those are the only two ways to drive traffic, right? So building an audience is basically networking, expanding your sphere, social media, all that good stuff, right? That's building an audience. Now that takes time. That takes a lot to do. The other thing you can do is you can buy an audience. You can pay per advertisement, and all you're doing is buying somebody else's audience. Like when we buy an ad on Facebook, what we're doing is paying Facebook because Facebook took the time to build an audience, and we don't have to. So why would you invest your time or your dollars driving an audience to a platform when you're not ready to provide value, when you're not ready to be positioned as an expert, right? So that's why those two things are critical in every aspect of marketing. You got to have those two. Now, once you got those two and you're crushing it, then you decide what you're going to do. Are you going to drive traffic by you building your audience, or are you going to pay for an audience? Obviously, paying for the audience is way more scalable. So you have to understand that when you make that decision, it has to fit within your business plan. Are you going to be a single agent selling 20 houses, or are you going to be a team selling 500 houses? Like, what is the vision? What are you doing? Because I would say marketing is going to get you faster to your destination every single time. Every single time. Now, if you don't have the dollars, yeah, you pound the pavement. I did it. I was doing open houses every single day. I only sold 3 houses my first year. Like I completely flat out failed, and I was doing it full time. I was living with my girlfriend. She was cleaning houses to support us. She's my wife now, so we made it, right? Yes. And she didn't kick me out for failing full-time agent, selling 3 houses. But the key to this is marketing eventually needs to be a big part of your business, because that's where you're going to scale. So how do you market? Well, you can do Google pay-per-click, run those ads. I mean, there's people that set up those ads now for like $100 on Fiverr. You can do Facebook ads. You can do Zillow, Realtor.com, Trulia. All sorts of marketing can work if you've got the right arrival, the right location for them to get to. And the location is, again, a great stance and great value. So decide, right. Let's say you're going to spend $1,000 a month or $500 a month or $100 a month. But you need to understand the math behind lead generation, because the math behind lead generation is what gives you a track for success and gives you assurance that you're going to make it. So some agents spend $200 a month. 5 months go by, they've spent $1,000, and then they're like, "Hey, what's going on? Like, this is not working," right? So what they don't realize is that there's a math behind the machine. So if you spend $1,000, you're going to get, let's say on Google, 100 leads in, $10 a lead in most markets, right? So if you are getting 100 leads in a 5-month span, you can expect one sale out of those 100 leads. If you're good too, if you're the best in the world, 3 sales out of those 100. So understand the math and understand your lead source, because if you were to go to another lead source, it's a different math.
Right.
So keep that in mind. So now, if you gave me $1,000 today, and I gave you back 8,000, how many times would you give me 1,000? How many?
As many as I could.
Right. So why wouldn't you spend $1,000 to make one sale? Because one sale should be at least $8,000.
Yeah.
Right. So if you understand that math, you can confidently say, let me grow this machine and scale it, and you'll be on your way to, playing big time ball. That's the way that I look at it. So what I want you to do is get so good at it that then you can spend 1,000 a month, or you got one sale, or you can spend 2,000 a month, so you get 2 sales. But man, $2,000, wow, that's so much money. It's such a big risk. Well, big risk leads to big rewards. That's it. If you're not willing to get out of your comfort zone, you're not willing to go and invest in your business, then you're always going to be where you're at. You're not going to grow. So that's one way to generating more and more. And this applies to seller leads, to buyer leads. It really doesn't matter. But I would focus on that. Now, one big thing with lead generation is focusing on message to market match. Okay. If my market, let's go back to the building the audience for a moment. Now, let's say in the building of your audience, you built an audience of first-time home buyers. That's it. Everybody that you went to college with and their friends, and you're friends with all those people. Now, if you have first-time home buyers in your audience, why would you promote a luxury home to them? Why? Like, are they going to spend $2 million on a home? That's not the first-time home buyer market. So you're not connecting with your audience. Like, you go on Facebook and put that luxurious $1 million homes, and it doesn't do anything. Now, why you do? You go on Facebook and your audience, and it's a first-time home buyer audience, and you tell them, hey, follow this link to check out an article on the top 10 communities where first-time home buyers are moving to today, right? Or these are the top 3 communities where first-time home buyers in so-and-so market are getting the best deals, or are getting their offers accepted, or whatever. At the end of the day, you got first-time home buyers, and you're talking to them. It's like, okay, I'm a first-time home buyer. I'm looking to buy. I'd love to know what are the top 3 communities people are buying as a first, like my people. Like this is me. So really, that's message to market match, and you need to make sure you do that in every promotion so you can maximize your return on investment on the lead generation.
Love it. I think do you find that people, you look around, talk to people, are they doing that? Is that a mistake that agents are making?
Oh, I see it all day.
Yeah.
Like all day long, they're making that mistake, and really, to me, the ad is a bait. Like, it's like a piece of cheese. It's not to get them to buy that home. It's like even when you do an open house, it's not about the house. They're never going to buy that house. That rarely happens. It's about the lead generation that you attract because of that house. So if I know that, then what I'm going to do is position something that attracts, even if I know no one is going to, buy exactly that home. But let's say you don't have any listings. Well, find new communities. Find a new community where first-time home buyers are buying. Grab one of the floor plans, one of the homes, take some photos, and put that home for sale and say, hey, this home is available for sale. It's a great home for a first-time home buyer, if that's your audience. Or let's say, your audience is a golf audience, and you're a golfer and you have friends that play golf and you're connected to golfers of America, whatever. I mean, if that's the case, then what you're going to do is you're going to position this golf home and saying, you won't believe how much this golf home is selling for.
Right.
Comment below and tell me how much you think it is. Boom. And people start commenting and stuff like that. And then you create engagement. The post shows up more. But in the post, you also have a link saying, if you're interested in looking at this home and you want to buy it, go to this link. And that's a lead generation source, a lead generation magnet. So don't do it wrong, do it right. You want to make sure you understand the numbers. You want to make sure you do a message to market match, and then you don't want to dig shallow holes. And that leads us to the next and last portion of these 4 pillars.
No shallow holes. I like that.
Yeah. So that's the next fatal mistake I see people making lead generation. They dig shallow holes all day, every day. And what's a shallow hole? Basically, you start digging and all of a sudden you give up and walk away to the next lead because you don't have a great nurturing process. You don't have a great follow-up process. You don't have a great strategy to retarget. You don't maximize the traffic. You're maximizing, the one person that you think is going to buy today. Just think about this, right? So why does Google charge, it costs you $10 to get one lead, right? It costs you that much because they're sending you 1,000 clicks, $1 per click to your website or whatever place you're collecting that lead. So when they send 1,000 clicks to your website and you only get 10, what happens to the other 980 people that went to your website, that clicked your ad and were interested, but that didn't opt in? They didn't give you the information. Well, if you're like 99.99999 of most agents out there, that traffic is dead, right? I exhort you to go beyond that. You have to have a retargeting campaign, a retargeting strategy where if somebody lands on your website within your market, your demographic, you have ways to filter that. Like my website, I get millions of hits a year. And, I got to be very, very selective on, where I put my retargeting budgets. But at the end of the day, having a retargeting budget puts you in front of those 980 people that you otherwise wouldn't have had for a fraction of the cost. So that's a way, the cookie is worth more than the opt-in, right? The opt-in is the 10 leads that you got. That's awesome. Great. You got 10 leads. But then you have 980 other people, or 990 other people. My math skills are not the greatest, right? But those 990 other people have a cookie in their computer that tracks them and shows them whatever you want them to see. How powerful is that? I mean, I love the times that we live in. It's just amazing. So that's part of your follow-up process. Having a good campaign in your system, in your CRM, is part of the process. You got to have a CRM, no question about it. So in that customer relationship management software, what you're going to do is you're going to create a campaign that follows up with a customer the way you would follow up manually. That's it. It's like, oh, Carlos, can you send me your campaign? Sure, you can copy my campaign, but that's not you. That's not who you are. That's not how you talk. That's not what you do. So why would you do that? Like, you want to create a campaign in such a way that people believe is you.
Right.
Okay. So use you. Now, I recommend it is an optimized version of you, right? You don't want to go and write like a 3, 4, 5 paragraph letter in an email. This is short, sweet, to the point. And let's say Rob is a customer that registered on my website, and I'm checking in with him, and I want to add some value. So Rob, you were asking me how else we have value. So even in our campaign, we focus on adding value. So for example, some of the early emails are focused on helping them understand the areas. Like, hey, do you know all the communities near Disney World and the difference amongst them? If not, let me know, and I'll send you a guide that can break that down for you. Or follow the link below to view a guide that breaks that down for you. All right? Are you familiar with the buying process? If you're not, here's the thing. So I add value, and then every so often I just check in. It's like, hey Rob, how's your home searches going? How are you finding everything? Is there anything I can do to help you? That's it. Now, if somebody goes on my website and they're hot and heavy and they're excited, we put them on a fast campaign where we're checking in with them every week and saying, hey, do you want to look at homes this weekend? Did you see any homes that interest you from the ones that I sent you this week? I noticed you were on our website. Is there anything that piqued your interest that we can show you? Right? But you see, that's all you should have to do. Like quick, easy, like none of these messages are super long. So as your follow-up, you can create text messages with it. You can create video messages with it. You can create video texting with it. You can do a slide dial voicemails with it. I mean, you can do all sorts of things as you build the layers of your machine. I call, this is kind of like a concerted effort. Everything works together and everything is gonna position you in a way, not only to generate leads, but to have those leads respect you because you're an expert, respect you because of your positioning, right? Love you because you come from contribution. Like, I mean, is there anybody that has given you your entire life and you don't love them? Like you feel like you're indebted to them because they've made so many deposits to the relationship bank account that you're like, man, what can I do for this person? Right? So you got those areas, then you generate the lead, you have a great message to market match, and all of a sudden you're nurturing them properly. Game changer. That's really how you scale. That's really how you grow. That's really how you sell hundreds of homes.
Love it. Well, I mean, I got a page of notes here, man. So we got, all right, positioning, value, generating the leads through different. I want to ask you, Facebook or Google? What do you like best right now, or both?
I mean, we do both. Now, I personally, I'm trying to crack the code on Facebook conversion. Again, remember the math varies. So the math for Facebook is, like for example, you may need 300 leads to get one sale, but you can get the leads for $3, right? So for example, if you know that and you can get so cheap leads, why is it taking 300? Why is it taking 300 leads to generate one sale? Because if you gave me 100 names from the phone book, if you gave me 100 names from the phone book today, and I call them, I build a relationship with them, I connected with them, I'll sell at least one house in the next 6 months from that person. Regular names, right? So why would it take 300 names on Facebook? So I'm looking at the like I'm like a scientist when it comes to the Facebook game right now, because I'm trying to lower that. Because just think about it, if I can get one sale out of 100 matching what we get on Google, but I'm paying $2 to $3 a lead on Facebook, I mean, that's a game changer.
That's a game changer. Yeah, that's huge. So so that gives us a lot to think about there. And then as you entered into the fourth part of that, no shallow holes, like really like retargeting, don't leave those, keep going back to those leads. It makes me, we have thousands of leads that are older leads. which I look at those and I think, we can, some people say, oh, those are old leads. We're having our people go back and call them and keep in touch with them because maybe they weren't ready then and they're 8 months down the road. We've tracked some of our leads and said that person bought 8 months later. You got that hot realtor.com lead, for instance, and you think, oh, well, they decided not to buy. Well, no, they just weren't quite ready yet.
Yeah.
So keeping in touch is important.
Absolutely. Absolutely. That's why you have that nurture program. I mean, we got leads that buy in 7 years, because here's the thing, out of that 100, you're only counting the one that's going to buy over the next 6 to 12 months. And that's awesome. But in a 5-year period, there may be 5 of those 100. So that $1,000 is the $1,000 that keeps on giving, because then you get referrals, you get repeat customers. I mean, listen.
Yeah, this is a long game.
Yeah, it's an economic model. You got to understand it.
Yeah, but I hear people talking about buying, Zillow leads, and we've had team members that have talked about it. And I think if you expect that you're going to turn around and you might make a sale in a month or two, but you got to be in it for the long haul, and you got to be able to keep, have a plan, strategy for long term.
Yeah.
So
and we do Zillow, and we're in a great partnership with Zillow, and it's all about the metrics again. Zillow is scary because it may cost you $300 to $400 to $500 depending on the market for one phone call. Like literally, your phone rings and you pick it up. That's $600 out of your pocket in some markets, right? So you really got to have your systems dialed in. You really got to be you can't go and burn money on a platform like that if you don't know what you're doing. So that's really like higher level, next, iteration of your game. I would focus on the low hanging fruits, learning, getting the marbles out of your mouth when you're talking to this customer. I mean, it's better to do with the lowest hanging fruit.
Love that. Yeah, so true. Man, so many great topics. I mean, I've got some summary notes here. I mean, you said your value proposition has to come from a place of giving without asking for anything in return. I think that's just it's coming from contribution. That whole mindset is so important. You're 84% of the time a client will work with you the first agent that they meet to face, right? So change my thinking about, where that first meeting is. Is it in the office? Or is it actually at the house, right? That's
because what's gonna get you more meetings? If all you do is tell them, I'll meet you at the house, you probably book a lot more of those.
Right. You can either build an audience or buy an audience. I think that makes sense, and I think you have to do, for those just starting out, you have to do both. We coach our agents get out there, have your pillars of business and work them, and then one of those could be online, buyer leads that you're maybe drilling into a little bit more, right? You've built a great strategy for going after those. I love making sure your market and message match. That is something that I think we're guilty of not doing that enough on our team. And so if people are listening out there, that's super important. That's a nugget right there. I love this also created for those of us that are doing more things with video now and we're putting ourselves out there, create a campaign that reflects you. Shouldn't be just, some of these things sound pretty canned. And you're saying, really make it sound like, Carlos.
Yeah, technology should never be something that is just a robot, right? Technology is a way to duplicate yourself, who you are in your essence, your true self. So that's really the way I see it. It's an empowerment tool. It's not something that you just go and buy and use the canned campaigns that were there.
Yeah. So I mean, I'm going to be listening to this over and over again, Carlos. I got a lot of good stuff out of this and made me rethink some of the things that we're doing. I know that other people are out there. You have the heart of a giver, right? You are definitely out there giving back to this community. You're a true leader who cares about his people and about, your fellow agents. We appreciate it. You've been so gracious with your time. And I love watching you from up north here. Just say, what's Carlos doing now? Inspirational, and it's really keeping us all going. So thank you. Tell everybody how they can find you online, or your channels, your handles.
Yeah, I mean, if they go like on Instagram, you can find me as Carlos German Global. On Facebook is Carlos German RE for real estate. You can go to carlosgerman.work, and there you can also find me, or carlosandteam.com. That's my team website. My phone number and stuff is there. Whatever I can do, reach out.
If you're looking for replays of this, we're on YouTube. We're on Real Estate Life with Rob Edgerly on YouTube. We've got our Instagram channel is Rob Edgerly, and find it at robedgerly.com. Find all of our stuff, and we really appreciate it. Again, thank you, Carlos. And as we like to say here, it's not just where you live, it's how you live. So.